Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Premier League presentation bringing you guys a game between Alliance and Mouz Sports. This is Game 2 of the Best of 3 series. We saw that Game 1 was an interesting little back and forth, but Spectre not paying off as far as selection there, unfortunately, and yeah, we do see Mouz Sports taking away a really nice carry from Black on the Gyrocopter, and as a whole, just a really good lineup for them. So, curious to see how Alliance is going to change up their strategy. They're always a really good team for responding to certain weaknesses and kind of changing up their strategy more dynamically. Of course, now they are playing with Smuglig as a stand-in, presumably still in their carry role, but yeah, they still are going to try to do their best here. S4 drafting it up and going to try to start off by banning out that Batrider. A little bit of a thorn in their side there. That was a bit of a weakness that they can overcome just by taking it off the board. So, going to do that there. And we do see actually Lifesteal get on through. Curious to see if that's going to be a first pick material for them. Either way, though, thank you guys so much for tuning on in to the Premier League Season 5 Reavers Cup Grand Final. And I myself am Blaze, joined by Triumph Man. How are you doing, sir?
I'm just looking at this lineup. I'm thinking probably the biggest issue Alliance Space last match is, this is pretty common story. You let Black farm, Black will farm, and you will not enjoy what he does with that farm at all. And it just came to the fact that there was no pressure on Gyrocopter at all. S4, Aki and EGM, they spent pretty much their entire time farming. Like farming the jungle, pulling, stacking, and in the end, they just let Gyrocopter completely spiral out of control, even without having access to, he didn't even go for a Midas, so even without that, he just got a retarded amount of farm and just got so far ahead of Spectre. He was like 140 GPM ahead of her. There was just no real way to catch up. And on top of that, Bulldog was a long way behind, very late, didn't get that BKB up in time at all, and we saw exactly how irritating that Static Storm was for him to deal with. And then, a couple of misplays here and there just really all sort of slid downhill for Alliance very quickly. Mouz Sports, so again denying both, or this time around, again, Bulldog going to be denied both the Nature's Prophet and the Lone Druid as well. Alliance, so deciding to snag the Lifestealer straight away. So this will help them deal with one of the more irritating issues was, of course, the lack of a magic immunity straight up on their carries, as it looks like they will decide to go with it. It looks like Aki will get his hands on Chen once again, his most played hero of all time, and then Magnus as well. For probably Bulldog, that again, it could be S4. We don't know just yet. We'll see what Mouz Sports think about it, though.
Yeah, it'll be interesting here. My general response to be, if you don't want to let Black farm, to go ahead and just put out an aggressive tri lane, which Lifestealer certainly can accommodate, but unfortunately a Chen isn't as versatile. I mean, if you get really lucky in the spawns, you can make an aggressive tri lane work, but it's not something that we've seen actively in a competitive scene, recently at least, and at least not to my knowledge. And so with that, they're probably going to go defensive, Chen in the jungle, and just start roaming early. So that's the point of Mouz Sports picking up the Shadow Demon here, is to make sure you don't have to deal with Shadow Demon and Chen, as those two combined together can be a little bit too much to handle sometimes. So they are going to pick it up for themselves. Really good hero to deal with Lifestealer as well, defensively disrupting or just going ahead for an offensive purge to make sure that Lifestealer is just shambling along like a George Romero zombie. He's just not able to stay on target there, and that's going to be a big factor coming on into the mid-game team fights. Either way, going into this second banning phase, we're actually seeing a Jakiro of all things being banned out, so that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Jakiro, of course, works with the Shadow Demon quite nicely as well. Honestly, I would be very surprised if Chen went into the offensive jungle role, just because, I mean, if you're going to do an offensive jungle, Chen is not a great choice, especially if you have Enchantress is a lot more flexible, a lot more forgiving. She has the early heal if she takes a lot of damage early on, and she can just sort of pick up the creeps a lot easier, having access to pick up 2 at a time, basically. Whereas Chen, if he loses one creep, he's got to go and look for another one. It can be very frustrating, whereas Enchantress, much easier for just to wander around, pick up those creeps willy-nilly as she feels like it. So, and of course, also having access to the slowest, it's dual purpose. Chen, of course, he dominates a creep, and then he's got to use those creep's abilities, whereas in Chen, if she finds a crappy creep, or she doesn't find what she wants, or if the creep dies, she has access to a slow as well, very easily as well. It's a very crippling slow too, so I think if they were going to go for that, they'd pick her. But as it is, it's most likely going to be that defensive sort of setup, because that's pretty much what Alliance do. I don't think they generally go for the offensive style trial. Even when they think they're going to get hit by an offensive trial, they just say, you know what, let's just screw it, let's just defend against it and try to get ahead in our other lanes. That said, I don't know if Mouz Sports really want to go offensive either. I think we're going to see a similar thing to last game. They're just going to try and set up, get Black farm once again, because I mean, it worked so well last time. So I mean, they're just going to say, you know what, if you're going to accommodate us Alliance, let's just see how you like it 2 times in a row. Yeah,
so banning out the Doom because, Doom, but it might indicate that, not all joking aside, it might actually indicate that they want to go for a very mobile active mid like a Storm Spirit, and one that would be shut down by that powerful silence. So interesting to take it out, but we'll see what Alliance... They do have the first pick here. That's the big thing. I don't think they would have banned out the Leshrac if they had it available as first pick for themselves. They probably would have just selected it to not only synergize with the Shadow Demon, but push with the Prophet. It would... I mean, honestly, when you have a Prophet and a Shadow Demon, Leshrac just would be the perfect way to fill into that final role set. But either way, right now, Alliance taking away the first pick, eating into reserve time just a little bit, trying to figure out what they're going to come up with. For specifically what that Doombringer pickup or ban out is telling them, and trying to see how they can deal with it if it is, in fact, like a Storm Spirit or something along those lines. We do see right now Lina is going to come on through, setting it up. If they open wounds, they can go into a Light Strike array, and from there, Chen, of course, can follow through with any of his numerous potential creeps. Not a lineup that would really work in 6.78 because of open wounds' limited initiation range, but as a whole, it's going to be really, really good in this scenario here. So I presume it's still going to be Magnus on the mid lane, but of course, Bulldog does have his potential one way or another. However, one thing to mention is Mousesports didn't ban out up against Bulldog this time around. They took out the Druid, and that's about it. Now they still have on the field things like the Bounty Hunter or the Clockwork Goblin.
Yeah, well, last game, Mousesports, they really didn't want Bulldog to get his hands on hero. They got rid of Nature's Prophet, they got rid of Darkseer, as well as the Bounty Hunter. They really did not want him to get his hands on anything. Oddly enough, Alliance actually banned the Lone Druid themselves, so there was that as well. But, I mean, yeah, Lifestealer, of course, 6.78 is going to get a couple of nerfs. Obviously, not going to be able to gank people as easily. That said, I mean, at the same time, they'll still... Running this offensive Trine or even defensive Trine with the Lifestealer Lina +1 is still going to have plenty of threat potential. And Lifestealer will still be able to zone people pretty hard. I mean, he comes up, moves at you, you've got to back off because otherwise you'll cop the open wounds and then Lina will jump you. Simple as that. I do, again, agree also with the Leshrac ban. Very smart from Mousesports because, of course, you don't want Chen. And same reason that Nature's Prophet and Leshrac go so well together, same reason you don't want Chen and Leshrac to go together either. Just because they can push really, really hard. And of course, the burst healing from Chen also allows Leshrac to overcome some of his severe weaknesses in the early phase where he's very, very squishy, particularly if he's playing support, so he can get a lot more aggressive with Edict. Not so much a Pulse over because he doesn't have the mana to support it, but yeah, he can get a lot more aggressive with that Edict. Mousesports, so fourth pick here. I'm just what other going to go? Oh, Sand yeah, which is definitely doable. Sand we don't see as much. I was almost, speaking of 6.78, a hero that I want to see return, melee support, I want to see the Earthshaker come back in here.
Oh, yeah.
And because he's a lot of fun. And of course the Echo Slams as well, setting up huge fights on top of that. But Sand King, of course, the Shadow Demon is going to help set him up, overcome his crappy low-level stuns, and with the ranged carry, it'll really help them deal with that. And whoa, wait a minute here. This is a very greedy lineup out of Alliance. Okay. This is the question: is is this actually going to be an S4 mid with Lifestealer, Magnus getting put into side lane with Bulldog, and then having Chen, Lina, and Anti-Mage in the safe lane?
I think you're going to have... this is just spitballing it. Honestly, it's very, very confusing. I think Mousesports is a little bit unnerved as well, but my best guess would be Lifestealer, Lina, dual lane mid together, Chen in the jungle protecting Anti-Mage who solos safe lane, and then Magnus goes where he feels is most appropriate, on the off lane if he can survive, and try to make it work that way. It's definitely different, it's definitely greedy, but EGM is picking up the Anti-Mage. What do you think of that?
Oh, wow, okay. I think the other thing that might happen also is Bulldog just says, oh yeah, there we go, Bulldog and Lifestealer. I think that's actually more likely he jungles. They're just going to go S4 mid, screw the suicide lane, Bulldog jungles, Aki's just going to... Aki's just going to share... Yeah, I mean, they can share. They can share a bit. As long as Chen gets one decent creep, they'll be fine, and he'll be able to get up to speed so they can just share those camps easily enough. But EGM, I guess they just... I mean, Smolga League, I'm going to be honest, the Spectre made some questionable plays, wasn't as up to par, so I think almost EGM might be the better rotation there in terms of the hard carry. Not to take anything away from Smolga League, they obviously played decently, but it was no loader. Yeah. Let's be honest there.
Sure enough, sure enough. Now, one thing that's interesting is EGM actually used to play carry very, very actively on his previous team, so that was kind of moving on around there. A very key role that he hopefully still has a knack for, because he's going to be farming it up on the Anti-Mage here. And one big aspect of farming an Anti-Mage versus a Shadow Demon is you have to be very, very careful about your timing, about your blinking, everything along those lines, because the disruption could be actually extremely frustrating to deal with. You get to reach 3 AM very, very early, but unfortunately not on your terms. You get 2 illusions battering down on you, and yeah, a couple of points of mana break could go a long way against you and making sure that you cannot escape. So big problems there, but yeah, for right now, it looks like he's going to have a pretty safe lane.
I mean, I think we might just see a full-on Chinese-style Anti-Mage. I mean, going back to last year, one of the most common things to do, if you played anti-mage against a Shadow Demon was just don't skill mana break, or at least only put one level in it. That was it, basically. Because I mean, anti-mage, if he's just going to sit and farm, you don't really need mana break. If your entire goal is to sit here and rice and rice and rice, why skill mana break if it's just going to work against you? So I think that's probably what we'll see him go for. If Shadow Demon does become a huge pest, that said, I don't think he's going to. I think Shadow Demon's going to keep to himself up in the top lane, to be dead honest. So I think he'll be just fine there. But yeah, I mean, you speak about the anti-mage versus Shadow Demon. I know Gods is the first thing he does. If you pick an anti-mage against him in a pub, he'll just pick the Shadow Demon just to piss you. I mean, he will chase you around all game, just driving nuts.
Nice. So one cool thing I really liked about EGM's movement, of course, Fata doing a great block here, but it looks like S4 is a little bit better, man. Just back and forth these guys here. Melee versus melee in the middle will be fun. But one cool thing I saw about EGM, starting items, he was just pull the Tango and a Salve. Waited to scout out the enemies, his own jungle, to make sure there weren't any opposition. And it's just based on the fact that there's a possibility of aggressive tri-lane. So made sure that wasn't going to be an issue. Immediately buys a poor man's shield and quarries that up to him so that he's going to be able to just freely get that extra cash instead of dealing with a tri or 2.5 versus tri. So very, very interesting there. We do see Lifestealer, as you were mentioning, doing the jungling action, choke pointing it up here and just burning down the Wild Wings very, very effectively. But yeah, most of the action, that means, is going to be on that mid lane. As for versus Fata, Magnus versus Beastmaster, Cleave versus Axis, going to be a pretty interesting thing to see here.
And Magnus, of course, did skill the Empower straight up. It was his level 1 choice. Just trying to deal, just give him, not so much, I don't think he's going so much for the Cleave here, it's just the extra last hitting power.
Yep.
I mean, why not? And he can afford to mana spam it. Doesn't really need to spam the Shockwave as much, and this won't push the lane quite as horrendously as Shockwave. Of course, you start spamming that Shockwave, you will push the lane and expose yourself just somewhat. That said, once Beastmaster picks up the Boar, it's going to get a lot more irritating for S4 for sure. I think he might actually just transition to Shockwave spam after that, because coming in consistently being slowed is going to be a huge, huge pain in the butt.
Yeah, absolutely, completely agree with you there. But for right now, I mean, S4 has shown some good movement. He was actually, like, he noticed creeps were getting low, knew Fata was going to axe them, and was able to actually dodge out of the path of them. So, making sure he doesn't take extra unnecessary damage there. And, yeah, right-clicking away, making sure his base damage can go over the top of Fata's. Because Beastmaster is actually really good on base damage. 65 damage going up against the 60 base damage of Magnus, so the Empower really doing work in that respect. And we do see up on top lane, there is a lot of pressure coming in on this tier 1 tower very early on. Just grabbing the Bassy, turning it on, right-clicking away, but here's that smoke game coming in, and Open wants to start it off. Where is going to be that Bro Strike? It's going to be on the Lifestealer, but the Hellbear Smasher still connects. Light Strike Array will go down on 2. Pause and Black in a bad spot. They defensively disrupt that Gyro, but they're still going to get the kill on the Sand King. Looking for another Light Strike Array coming off cooldown. Black in a, big body blocks, and Black will fall as well. A great rotation. Cost them a decent chunk of HP, dropping their tower down to 300, but well worth it for the cash they were able to pick up from those 2 kills.
I mean, this is Aki Chen at work. This is why you don't want to get that Chen, because he does do some really nasty stuff with it. Great micro there, body blocking away with the Hellbear there, and just basically preventing poor old Gyrocopter from escaping. And of course, Lina coming with a follow-up there as well with that Light Strike away. But now this, I mean, they were gunning. Mouz were gunning for that early farm there for the supports, get the early tower down, get them their boots out, get them their early wards. And now it's just going to completely backfire. And now it's probably going to feed the supports from Alliance, their early equipment there, as it looks like Chen already got his boots here. Lina, they will be able to get very aggressive, put a lot of pressure here on Black this time around. I like what they're doing here. The fact that Bulldog, they just said, you know what, let's get an early level here. Let's get some early levels for Bulldog, make sure he just gets his level 3 or so, gets his core abilities, and then we'll get aggressive. And I really like this maneuver here from Alliance. It's going to work out well in their favor, I think.
Yeah, I have actually never seen a delayed aggressive trial lane, but this is perfect for them. They got a couple of consistent good creeps on Ake. He is sitting at level 3, a couple good points in Test of Faith, and they got some good stun potential. Lina can pop off 2 Light Strike Arrays right now. So they're in a great position. Just go kind of man mode on this. We do see a little bit of disruption action coming out on Ake. He is going to get hit by the Burrow Strike there. He's going to be Nature's Prophet teleporting on in, though, and doing a lot of damage in turn. Ake will fall to Shadow Poison, right clicks here. Poikova taking a lot of hits, jumps inside the Sprout, but Bulldog knocks it down with Tango. Going to be able to right click away. More body blocks from Ake, and they clean that up as well. Lina able to get out just barely by the skin of her teeth. So Lifestealer's not going to be able to farm here, but they forced Nature's Prophet rotation and then killed him anyways. So that's pulling him out of the jungle, delaying the Midas that he otherwise would be having in only a couple minutes.
Yeah, I mean, the only real reason they got the kill, I think, is because this ward sitting right here, and they haven't spotted it, right next to a Radiant counter ward as well. Oh, no, Bulldog possibly gets spotted up and jump. I don't think they've realized. Yeah, wow, how has he not seen that?
He has to see it. He just doesn't care. Like, he knows it's going to expire in about a minute anyways, or I'm not sure. Maybe he doesn't feel safe. I mean, it does take a few good right clicks to bring it down, and yeah, Chen's going to take care of it himself.
There we go.
So, yeah.
I was going to say, there's no way he can't see that. Must see it. But yeah, I mean, that said, I mean, at the same time, this amount of pressure on the top lane is interrupting Black's farm, and that's, I think, going to be the important factor there. See Black 21-1, he's fallen behind now because he's busy fighting. And this, I think, even if this doesn't get them tons of farm on the lifestealer, it's not the point. Lifestealer is here to delay the farm of Black. He's not here to carry. The carry is EGM. And this is getting him plenty of free time. While Mouz Sports are dicking around up here with the lifestealer, it's just free farm for Anti-Mage, and he's just going to get to that 3 AM status, and then he's going to unleash a world of pain on Mouz Sports. I should also mention that like this delayed, this was planned. Like we saw that smoke gang that they rotated up to the top. Sure, they got a little bit lucky that Mouz Sports were pushing at that exact moment, but they brought the smoke out just before they rotated. They were planning for this. It wasn't something they brought up early and said, you know what, let's just go for it now. It was a timing thing. They got the smoke at the right moment. They were somehow. They were going to launch a gank on the top lane and put pressure on Black. This was definitely a consistent strategy that they were working on. They weren't just jumping up there at the right moment at the right time.
S4 continues to impress me. He actually had the arcane boots on the courier and waited until he got the bottle off the courier, used it to full, put it back on the courier, and then got his arcane boots just to make sure he could get the most out of it, doing the percentage versus current mana pool type action. So yeah, just continuing to impress me as far as that level of efficiency and methodology coming out of the players like this. Just really good action there. But we do see, as far as what Fada's got to bring to the table, not only some boar harassment, but also has that roar available as soon as he gets the mana pool for it. Runespawn will be down on bottom, looking at a little bit. I think Beastmaster might be able to cover this one up, at least deny it with the boar if he gets it on out there quickly enough. But yeah, I think he'll get the deny. But that's pretty much it. Oh, EGM jumping on in, sniping up the double damage, walking away. Might be able to put out some pressure on the tier 1 really early on. It's already half HP, and yeah, just right clicking away. That's a lot to a good duration on the double damage. So gonna be good for him.
I mean, you might be a little bit worried about the lane pushing, but in this case, I think it's just fine for EGM to take that tower as early as possible. Wouldn't worry too much about the creep pushing up that lane, just because it looks like we're going to get a gank in middle there. Beastmaster will get picked off, but the fact, of course, that Anti-Mage, he has a poor man's shield, he has a Ring of Health and the treads already. He can quite happily jump into his jungle and farm that whenever the lane is pushing up fairly fast, so it's not going to be a problem for them. That said, though, first tower of the game going to fall to Mouz Sports. They're going to take that tier 1 up top, and now Black. Still a little bit behind in terms of CS, but he's going to be, I mean, he's on track, I think, for the 10-minute mark for the most part. But there we go, open wounds down Black. Black now in some serious trouble. Here comes standing there. Smolgully going to land the light strike. Oh, yes, drops it down, but here comes a burrow strike. Going to try and stop it. No, in fact, Pass says, you know, I'm not going to save you. I'm not going to be able to save you, so no point waste that mana because, of course, right now, mana very precious to the Sand King. Does not have much to burn.
Yeah. So now things are shaping up. We do see Koikova is going to get that Hand of Midas at a relatively good time. It's 7 minutes in, not too shabby, getting some good experience and gold. But comparing that to what EGM's been able to acquire down in the spot lane, and it's just not even comparable. We do see 300 gold per minute on the Nature's Prophet, but EGM almost at 400 with his 53 CS. So he's going to be moving in, picking up a Battlefield at a great timing to put continuous push pressure and just be a very frustrating individual down in that bot lane. Is that dual core? As long as they have one of the two farming away, they're going to be happy to just continue to outmaneuver Mouz Sports and let them kind of be the ones running on the wild goose chase.
Yeah, Mouz Sports. I mean, the only real way to shut down Anti-Mage farm, not so much to kill him, but they need to invade his jungle and put pressure down. And right now, they just don't have the ability to do that. And if they do, Anti-Mage, he's mobile. He can get around the map quickly, farm in safer spots, whereas once the pressure comes down on Black, it's a lot harder for him to find safe positions to farm, especially since he can't escape at a moment's notice like Anti-Mage can. Speaking of which, it looks like we're going to have Synderen drop a deny there on that bottom tower. Might get picked off. In fact, going to get picked off here for sure. There's no way he's getting out of this one alive. Not with Aki there. Throws in disruption here. Oh, actually, no, manages to dodge away there. Lena now getting blocked in by the illusions, but there we go. Anti-Mage will finish that off and take the kill there. I think he was trying to duck around in the trees and possibly loop around and get killed there by the stack of Ancients, which it looks like he's being prepared there for the Black to go and farm up.
Yeah, stacking it up, he has the Perseverance moving in towards B-Fury at a pretty good rate, and that kill, of course, assisting in that regard very nicely. 1-0-0, top of the CS charts. Can't expect more from this guy here, and so he's in a really good position, but what does Mouz Sports have to answer back with? Right now, of course, Prophet's mobility is a big factor, a lot of potential for pickoffs, and just being very frustrating. Actually, I think they might be able to snipe the Courier. It doesn't have haste up available, but it looks like the Koikova, with his current HP pool, it doesn't feel comfortable with that. They did actually have the Hawk scouted on out. Looking at top lane, no, not too much going on back and forth there. But we do actually see a stun combo going out onto Paz, getting picked off here. Couldn't even use his Burrow Strike to maneuver. Just great combo, setting it up, and yeah, Test of Faith along with a little bit of Centaur Hellbear action. Going to be able to clean it up here, and a ward on top of the creeps that they were trying to stack up for the Gyrocopter. Just, oh, such cheeky play from Alliance. They are really good at maneuvering and making sure that they are shutting this kind of thing down. It was something that I expected to see more of in the Dragon Knight versus Gyrocopter matchup, but happy to see it here and going directly up against Black and his farm.
Yeah, really going to slow him down there quite a bit. And right now, like, see how they've eased the pressure off? I really like the fact that they've eased the pressure off on Mouse Sports up on the top lane. Just because, like, they want to shut down Black, but at the same time, they don't really need to shut him down super hard. They just need to get the Anti-Mage ahead, because Anti-Mage definitely is going to have the firepower to take Black on in the late game. And the fact that Anti-Mage is farming really well pretty much means that, well, you know, they put him in a position where he can handle it. And by doing this, they don't really have to risk. It looks like Lena's actually going to get picked off here, most likely. Yes, she will get leaned up. Oh, wow! Drops the Laguna Blade, and I've got to say, Smolga League, if he wasn't that fantastic on Spectre, doing so much better this game, as Lena really making up for it. But yeah, I mean, that's just it. Basically, like, once they get Anti-Mage ahead, you know, they don't really need to charge around the enemy jungle, because if they do that, you know, they don't have that much ward vision up. They really risk things going awry or getting outnumbered, getting teleported in on, and just getting jumped, basically, especially with Nature's Prophet having his mobility, and just losing heroes unnecessarily, and then re-accelerating the experience in gold of Black. So by doing this, you know, they're playing it safe. Just get the Anti-Mage ahead, and then just basically inch them out from there on out.
Cleaning up the Ancients real quick. They will be able to get a little bit. Cinder coming back on in, but, man, a little bit flustered at the fact that he didn't realize they had the Observer ward on that high ground. And that Laguna Blade just, yeah, making it so it's effectively a 1-for-1. Lena getting a little bit of cheap, easy experience from that one there. So it was really funny. But as far as the end result, it does mean that Mouse Sports is getting a little bit back in their own pockets. Like, they've been very, very far behind in gold, and although that cuts them even, at least they're gaining something, because currently their net worth values have been rather insubstantial. Only 3,800 on Black and Nature's Prophet each. It's just not where they need to be. So we'll see if they can kind of build it up from here, but the big limiting factor is S4's Blink Dagger is now up and available, and in 20 short seconds he's going to be able to go for the Blink RP, and that's just going to put it so they can pressure towers, they can gank aggressively, and really, it's just going to give all the space in the world for EGM to come out on top.
Yeah, Mouse Sports really have to worry about the jungle being invaded now, and unfortunately for their supports, it means they're going to have to spend even more cash. Oh no, Nature's Prophet walks straight into this. Oh, well, no, S4 whiffs that one. Doesn't matter though, Open Wound is going to help finish the deal there. Easy kill there for them. But I mean, now, the supports of Mouse Sports are going to have to worry so much more about the defensive wards on their side of the map, keeping these guys out. If we see an early gem as well from Alliance, this is going to become so problematic for them to try and keep vision up here. As now, again, a stun goes down. They throw it in the light strike away. Laguna Blade being tossed in there just for good measure. I think it was probably a little bit unnecessary. But regardless, you know what? I mean, the biggest issue is not so much a kill steal, but more the fact she's out of mana and can't really participate anymore. S4 throws down the RP, throws out a shockwave as well. Will be finished off, though, outnumbered 3-1. I mean, this is the point where if Lena, if she had some more mana, really could have helped turn things around. Going to have to try and back off. They're going to teleport out. I don't think they've got anything to cancel. Burrow Strike too far away to help out. And they will manage to snake away there. But at the same time, Gyrocopter 2,100 gold in the bank. Also 1k in the bank there for... Oh no, he just spent it up there on the Arcane Boots, which he does indeed need to help out with that mana pool.
Yeah. EGM farming away. Oh, with this Mud Golem is going to be able to pick up that Battle Fury. So that's going to set him up very, very nicely to move on forward and just completely obliterate the GPM charts. Right now, 462, not doing too shabby, but if we thought Black was farming well, my goodness, this Anti-Mage is going to get massive. He maxed out his Blink, has the Cleave up and ready, and they are going to be starting stacking up on these Ancients as well, so that's going to be pretty big there. Mouse Sports, good movement, good rotation, a lot of TPs, and they were able to bring down Magnus as well as waste his RP, but it's all distraction games, 4 distract from 1. All they want is EGM to just keep on playing it out on the bot lane here, safe and sound, and move in towards that Manta style next.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing, of course, is it's going to be a lot harder for them to keep Gyrocopter safe, just because Anti-Mage, of course, can blink over the top of the fight. Magnus can get stuck in as well with the blink. They can a lot more easily target fire the Gyrocopter than in comparison the Mouse Sports can. Mouse Sports don't have that mobility, not yet at least. Sand King will help out a bit, but the thing is, Sand King tends not to lead the fights a lot. He tries to sweep him. Like, if he leads the fight with a stun, it makes it a lot harder for him to get off a crippling epicenter. So he's got to choose between either getting that massive epicenter or leading with the stun. So it's going to be a bit of a trade-off that they're going to have to make later in the game. And in fact, it might come to the point where they'd rather have the initiation value from his stun if Beastmaster doesn't also find himself a blink, or at least... I mean, the other thing you can do, obviously, in Beastmaster, if you don't want to get the blink, is pick up an Argon instead, because it does really cause a huge range increase there on his Raw.
So a lot of potential, but yeah, he has a huge setback, because the problem is he has to go for Mechanism. Ake was able to go for it himself, so that means S4 goes for Blink, goes for whatever he feels like next. Meanwhile, Fata, a huge, huge speed bump is this mechanism. It's 100% necessary. They absolutely need it. But the fact that Nature's Prophet isn't picking it up, the fact that Koikrova is going for maybe a right-click build or a sheep build, means that Beastmaster is not going to be able to get that range of initiation. He's just going to go kind of bare bones, regular ultimate, and see what he can do there. But yeah, for the time being, it looks like Alliance really have a lot of good control of the lane. I'm curious to see what S4 is going to be going for next. In my personal opinion, although we have talked about like the refreshers and the BKBs, I actually like the idea of a Pipe of Insight because of the fact that they have to deal with Wrath of Nature, Call Down, and Epicenter all combined together. But we actually see a pick off here, up on the top lane, right into 3 different creeps, but a super Burrow Strike. Not going to be enough to get him on out of there. Does look a little flashy, though. Either way, Black going to retreat. He doesn't have a TP scroll. They can go on in. They need the TP support. Roar not going to come out just yet. Just using the buckler to keep himself alive, but the Laguna, the Infest, burning him on down. And S4 looking for that RP to bring him down. Black just getting right-click down with the double damage, and he will drop very, very quickly. In turn, Beastmaster on the run. It's going to be S4 to blink in and deliver a couple right-clicks to finish the job here. So, nice fight for them. They lose the lane and they pick up 3. And, I don't know if they can put some damage in the tier 1, if not bring it down itself.
Yeah, they should be able to bring that down fairly easily there. And in fact, I think they're making motions. Mouseport saying there might be a ward over there in the jungle. They're pretty close. I mean, it's up here that's spotting them out.
Yeah, I actually didn't catch Anti-Mage finishing off the Nature's Prophet with a Mana Void. Just right-clicking him on down, and just before the Shadow Demon was in position to help him on out, Mana Void was able to finish him off. That does not surprise me. Look at this. You got the Battle Fury, the treads, and then you compare the items. Nature's Prophet, he's got what, 700 health and a Midas to try and keep him alive. I mean, people really overlook the aggressive nature of Anti-Mage. If he wants to kill you, prior to 20 minutes marks, even without the max mana break here, I mean, he's got the early Battle Fury instead. He can do it. I mean, he can dish out a ton of damage, and with the mobility, it's quite possible for him to drill someone down who doesn't have a good survivability, or at least a stun, so he can drop that and run away. Yeah. So it's difficult. Prophet doesn't really have any tools to escape. He's going to go for that Shadow Blade, and that's going to kind of nullify that weakness, assuming that Alliance isn't as active on detection as I expected them to be, but at least he will be able to evade Anti-Mage solo kills, if not the rest of the sports. We do see down at bottom, there is the Roar, a lot of damage to EGM. Will he get the blink? No! Call down, dropping the hammer. S4 coming on in with the skewer to turn it around 1 for 1, carry for carry. We're going to see Beastmaster able to TP away. Pause, not so fortunate. Has the scroll, but the Light Strike Array will come out at just about any time. Sentry Ward keeping vision on him, and a right click from Lifesteal to finish it off.
Oh, Lena just said, yo, I don't even care about the Light Strike. I'm just going to ult you. Just as a bit of recompense there for getting stunned in the face. Meanwhile, though, it looks like Chen's army busy chasing after Nature's Prophet. Nature's Prophet on the run there. Unfortunately, S4 right behind him. Doesn't quite get the distance to skewer him back. In fact, I think he's just going to try. Nope, he's actually going to skewer him forwards. Nature's Prophet now trying to get away. RP going to cancel it. Net as well.
Yeah, they could have waited for the ensnare, technically, but either way, it works out for them. I'm just amazed at how mobile S4 is. Like, he immediately, as soon as the action was done down bottom, it's like he's like everywhere right now. Just shows up, TPs to mid, I think blinked to the high ground from the tower, and was able to just get in the perfect position at the right place at the right time. So, good movement from him. Just shows how active he really can be. And in 85 seconds, has another RP.
Yeah, he'll back him. I mean, right now, they're not looking at huge team fights, so it's quite okay for him to burn those RPs on single kills. And that's not a problem at all, just going for those single kills with the RP, even though, like, it's a big cooldown. But, I mean, if you get kills at this point in the game, it's really important just because it's giving you a huge XP lead. And speaking of XP lead, 12k plus. That is going to be so hard because getting those level 2 ultimates is such a big deal ahead of your opponents. So I think it's definitely worthwhile for busting them down like this. And we see Beastmaster still working towards his level 2. Nature's Prophet actually has his, though, oddly enough. Has actually managed to pick that up from his solo time in the jungle. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, of course, Midas, of course. Gyrocopter, though, it's still working towards him. Almost has a BKB, though. Very close to that. That's definitely going to be a fairly big deal. I think they've spotted the ward there, have they?
Which one?
They pinged on it.
The one in the mid there?
The ward down, the one down here. The die, they pinged that one, but they're not doing anything about it.
Yeah.
Maybe there's an accident. I don't know.
Just a little quinkadink there, but they have sentries active. They have really good control over the jungle as a whole, but I don't think they're going to commit to a gem until after Lothar's is finished on Prophet. So for right now, just kind of staying active, staying mobile. But yeah, as you're mentioning, Fata so far behind now, just finishing up the mechanism, and that is really, really good for the team as a whole. But when you compare that to the Chen, and the fact that Chen has not only a mechanism but 2,100 gold, and Fata's just now finished his up, it's just ridiculous when you compare those net worth values. Just the Beastmaster is so far behind compared to what he'd like to be. He's, what, 4k net worth behind the Magnus and 1,500 behind the Chen. It's very, very difficult for him in this position here to make any impact when he can benefit so much from items and he just doesn't have the cash for it.
Yeah, he's just full. Well, not even just the Beastmaster, but also, I mean, Black's doing okay here, 367, sorry, 370 gold per minute at the moment. But the problem is, Anti-Mage is just spiraling out of control so fast. 3M is well on the way there. He's got almost got the Yasha up and running as well. In fact, he's got the recipe done there. He's got the Mana Cell recipe as well. He's just looking for the pass for the Yasha now. As it looks like gank there on fight there on bottom there. As it looks like open wounds there on Fata. Fata trying to get out of there. Burrow strike in there. Going to stop Bulldog from RPing just yet. Bulldog is skewering forward. Gets a double RP down. And he is going to wreck the Mana Void as well. Anti-Mage picking up a double kill. EGM going absolutely ballistic. Black trying to get the hell away. It looks like he will manage to escape there as the Warlord. Oh, he should put it thrown in the net as Magnus also picks up another kill there as well. Sanking getting brought down. And there we go. The net does go down there on Black. And S4 going to tear him apart as well.
There it is.
That's it. GG.
Indeed. GG indeed. As for getting those maximum range shockwave to finish off the Magnus across the... I don't even know if he had sight, but it was way across the little river there. But he couldn't blink, he couldn't skewer, just 4 staffs right on top of them for an instantaneous initiation. As for just, yeah, playing that Magnus, showing why he is Magnus' son, and cleaning it up very, very nicely. So... That was really, really good across the board, and now finally that Manta style comes out. The fun ends here, but honestly it's already over. Just fountain diving at this point. But yeah, GPM counts. We look at 678 on EGM, 474 on Magnus, and just Mousesports didn't have anything close.
I've got to say there, smart rotation reliance in the early, the delayed offensive triumph, very, very clever from them. And on top of that, I think also other big factor here, switching roles to Smalgulik. He was so much more comfortable playing the Lina, without a doubt. Shunned a lot better on that. And of course, EGM, lethal Anti-Mage without a doubt as well. 7-1-2 and got plenty of farm. Although, of course, you know, hands down because he supports, he's such a big distraction for him.
Absolutely. Whether very, very direct in the babysitting or just making waves across the map, it allowed EGM to just go and carry to victory. So, smooth move across the board. Alliance answer back for that, I wouldn't say trouncing early game, but it certainly was not the game that they were looking for. So now, answering back, bringing in the equalizer 1-1, we will have to see what's going to happen in Game 3 here. Going to go in and have match point for both teams coming up in just a little bit here. Again, this is a best-of-3 series, and only Game 2. So thank you guys so much for tuning on in. This was TPL Season 5, the Premier League Reaver Cup, and this is the Grand Final. So one more game to decide who's going to be going home with first place. Thank you guys so much for tuning on in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the commentary, and we'll go on into the next one in just a minute.